Regina Celi, let
We go on with our transformation in Jesus, into Jesus. And now we come to the part 4. The title of this one is The Great Enemy of Jesus in You. So now we look at who's that enemy whom we have to conquer in order to be like Jesus and to allow Jesus to work in and through us. And it's again Mary who speaks to us. My child, knowing the thoughts of Jesus is not sufficient to make you immediately begin to live his life. You must at the same time fight and conquer the enemies who are opposed to the life of Jesus in you. Now hear this, the most dangerous of these enemies is yourself. So we are going to have to now, let's first read this. You would like to live only for Jesus, and at the same time you'd like to follow the tendencies of your depraved nature. Do not deceive yourself. You cannot serve two masters. As long as your evil tendencies rule, Jesus cannot rule over you. There must be no truce, no respite, no quarter in the war against your natural tendencies until they leave the stronghold to Jesus. You see, we are seeking to empty ourselves of ourselves completely. And all that is left is Jesus. All for Jesus. These are hard conditions, but you cannot escape them. What a large number of my children I have seen, who were once pious and generous, prepared to become saints, and to exercise about them a compelling influence for good. Alas, because they were not able to recognize and combat their corrupt nature, they remained mediocre and failed to realize even 100th part of the good they were called to do. If indeed they were not miserably lost, dragging along in their fall a multitude of other souls. So we see here a number of souls starting out very fervent, very good, very pious, generous, and then becoming mediocre. And we see here also, it's very clearly being pointed out to us, the problem is our own corrupted nature, due to sin, of course. Now we have to look at ourselves, and this is what this meditation is going to be. Basically, a self-examination. We have to look at ourselves. What are those enemies? And what is the most predominant one? Because the other ones, and there are probably several tendencies that we have that can pull us down. But one predominates. And because of that one, then the others follow. You see, it drags the others with. If we can conquer that one, this is what she's pointing out. We can conquer that one predominant fault, that one predominant enemy, then the rest will follow. We'll conquer them too. And now she's going to give us a list of them. All right, and a little examination on each one that we should make to try to determine which one is the predominant one. All right. All right, so we go on to then, here's the list that she gives us. But first, a little introduction before I do that. Still, do not be embarrassed by the multiplicity of your enemies. So there's several of them. They all obey a leader, and once he is conquered, like this is what I just actually said to you, all the others will, by that very fact, be crushed or reduced to relative impotence. It is your ruling passion which you must know above all. What is it? Now here's the list. Vanity. Are you in love with compliments, happy to receive them if they are unmerited? Do you catch yourself dreaming about marvelous deeds calculated to attract the applause of men? See? These are all vanity. Pride. Have you exaggerated an exaggerated idea of your worth? And do you at times despise others? Do you treat others with haughtiness, harshness, or anger, or especially those who do not bow to your superiority? Touchiness. Do you become irritated at a real or supposed criticism? At a lack of consideration, though it be involuntary, are you easily offended? Do you find it hard or to pardon? Are you tempted to give up a good work because someone has crossed you? Some of these start to sound familiar, right? Ambition, do you seek to put yourself forward? Is it your own glory or the glory of Christ that you seek? Are you one of those who devote themselves to a good cause only when they can be leaders of it? But who retire as soon as they must serve the ranks? Envy? Can you not stand having others succeed as well as you? Do you rejoice when they have failed? Inconstancy? Are you the plaything of your feelings, at times enthusiastically ready for any sacrifice, then again depressed to the extent of being indifferent to everything? Do you start a multitude of enterprises without ever finishing any of them? Light-mindedness. Do you give yourself too easily to exterior things? Do you find it difficult to recollect yourself and to give serious matters any attention they merit? The attention they merit? Sensuality. Do you flatter your body? Are you always preoccupied about giving it all the satisfaction it craves in food, drink, repose, and perhaps in its still lower tendencies? Laziness. Are you afraid of making an effort? Do you neglect your work? Do you retreat before the least sacrifice? Egoism. Do you think only of yourself? Do you realize that others also have rights and that, if need be, you should suffer rather than have others suffer? On examining yourself in this way, you will discover indications of a great number of these inordinate tendencies. No doubt, you have the germs of all evil tendencies, but not all of them are predominant. So we can look at almost any tendency and say, well, we've got something here, something there. We probably have a multitude. Well, we do. That's what she's saying. We have a multitude of them, but only one or only a few are predominant. Okay? Not all of them are predominant. Here's what we have to look for now. Which seems strongest and most pernicious? Which is the most ordinary cause of your disappointments, of your preoccupations, of your bad humor, of your joys? When you catch yourself dreaming, is it a thought of vanity, vengeance, or sensuality that is occupying you? Whence comes the distractions that please you most, or that are the most difficult to banish? With what have you been reproached by your parents, teachers, friends, or persons you have irritated? About which of your tendencies would you say, if I were not this way or that, I would get along much better with God and with men? Now the instructions. Be very sincere in your examination and pray for light from heaven. For it is easy to make a mistake in this matter, and to take for the predominant fault one which is more apparent, but less deep-seated, or one which is rather easy to give up. Men are strongly attached to their predominant fault because it is a companion who was born and reared with them, and who has always lived with them, and who has constantly procured them satisfaction. Sometimes they even mistake it for their predominant good quality. See how easily we can be deceived. Doubtless, everyone loves himself a great deal, but we must have the courage to love Jesus more. Dare to recognize in all simplicity how much of yourself you must sacrifice for him. Do not fear by renouncing a vain Do not fear. By renouncing a vain idol, you will possess the true God. By dying to your corrupt nature, you will live the life of Jesus. Let us respond as the faithful soul. May Jesus reign no matter how much it costs me. He must increase. I must decrease. God keep you and our Blessed Mother Mary. May God bless you. And may our Blessed Mother Mary keep you always.
Resurrected